Richard and Nicole Watterson have a complex relationship that at times is very difficult to understand. Why would a hardworking woman like Nicole stoop down to the level of an underachiever like Richard? Red pill men preach that the modern woman is hypergamous and will only have relations with a man that she subconsciously views as better than her. Red pilled women encourage other women to seek out high value men because they are more likely to be better protectors and providers. But what happens when a couple defies the norm? The episode titled The Man starts with the Watterson family having a birthday party for Granny JoJo. The family notices that Granny JoJo is in a much better mood than usual. She's giving Nicole backhanded compliments as opposed to straight up insults, and she's smirking instead of scowling. This is when Granny introduces her new boyfriend Louie to the family, who appears to be the culprits behind her happiness. Richard, who was raised as an only child by a single mother, enviously gags at the thought of another man showing his mother affection. He drills Louie with trick questions and tries to make him seem like a loser for being unemployed. Imagine the face of unemployment roasting you for being unemployed. Richard feels as though his mother has been stolen, and the family acknowledges the hostility in the air. Richard demands that his mother stop seeing Louie, and she refuses as they both proceed to ground each other. Granny JoJo asks the kids to help her sneak out and see her one true love. Meanwhile, Nicole and Richard reminisce about when they first started sneaking around to see each other. She asks Richard to have a conversation with his mother because she's never been this pleasant to be around. Richard complies and catches the two about to kiss, and with some instigation, the two are compelled to a man-off. Louie technically wins the ding-a-ling measuring contest, and Gumball exposes that it was all a trick to get the two to sit down and discuss their feelings. Richard opens up about the trauma he faced from his dad walking out on them, and says that he's scared that if his mother finds a new man in her life, her love for Richard will diminish. Granny JoJo confirms that her heart is big enough to love Richard and Louie. This episode showcases the importance of a father and mother in the household. Granny JoJo had to do her best to emulate how a father would act toward Richard, but she could only do so much. Granny JoJo's over-sheltering and Richard's lack of a true father figure has caused him to grow into a hyper-feminine man. Maybe Freud had the right idea when he said that men tend to marry women who are similar in character to their mother. Richard suffers from gluttony, laziness, and unemployment. His family doesn't respect his leadership and views him as a joke rather than a protector or provider. And the worst part about his hyperfemininity is that he doesn't actually step into a feminine role to match his wife's strong masculine energy. He doesn't cook, clean, nurture, or do anything other than bury himself on the couch and sometimes be nice to the kids. The masculine and feminine are crafted to complement each other perfectly, and by removing this aspect from the household, their home is in constant chaos. Nicole is always stressed, Gumball and Darwin are running for their lives every episode, and Anais is a hyper-independent overachiever. Now, I'm not some ultra-conservative, bring back manly men type of guy, but I do believe that men will begin to feel more whole when they are healthily embracing their masculinity, which in turn will allow your chosen woman to healthily embrace her feminine energy. If masculinity is in the driver's seat, femininity, which is just as important, is in the passenger seat, helping guide the way. The Choices starts with Nicole cooking a meal and reminiscing about how terrible every day of her life is, which grants us a deeper dive into her psyche. The kids are screaming about how they want food, and Richard tells them to be louder because Nicole works better under pressure. She gets upset at Richard's uselessness in the kitchen. While distracted by Richard, her meal catches on fire. She asks herself how she got here and concludes that it all went wrong the day she met Richard. We're introduced to her angry father and overbearing mother who lectures her even though she has all A's. Her mother tells her that second place is for losers and insists that she marries a doctor in the future. As Nicole Naruto sprints to her match, she stumbles across Richard, who is somehow stuck in a log. She believes that this was the day she was destined to meet her future husband and wonders what would happen if she gave each man she came across that day a chance. If she married Banana Bob, she would go insane. If she married Tobias's father, she would grow exceedingly insecure and go to prison for burning their house down. If she married Mr. Small, she would die prematurely due to his distrust in Big Pharma. If she married the bad boy thumbprint guy, she would also end up dead because he doesn't believe in wearing helmets. This is where she confirms that Richard is indeed her person. Nicole spills her insecurities about wanting to be the best so other people will like her, but Richard already likes her for her, despite all her achievements. Richard advises her to start living her life for herself, rather than the approval of others, and the two slowly fall in love even though her parents don't approve of Richard. Nicole runs away and Richard is kicked out. The two move into their own place, become pregnant, decide to get married, buy a house, and then turn their house into a home. Nicole realizes that she doesn't actually see Richard as dead weight. She is thankful she met Richard and glad to be with her chaotic, loving family. This episode really shows that the grass may seem greener on somebody else's lawn, but that could be synthetic grass. Be happy with what you have. You are where you are because there's a part of you that truly desires to be there. The grass is greenest where you water it. Richard and Nicole are drawn to each other, not just because they love each other, but because they need each other. Richard encourages Nicole to take life less seriously, and Nicole encourages Richard to take life more seriously. In the episode, The Parents, Nicole's parents come to town and we get a deeper look into the people responsible for her upbringing. The episode starts with Nicole grocery shopping with the whole family. The family tries to sneak treats into the shopping cart and are curious as to why Nicole doesn't let them have a treat. Nicole apparently works a dead-end job, gets paid literal peanuts, and comes from a family of penny pinchers. After sniffing out a good deal from the 60s, she runs into the aforementioned penny pinchers. She is surprised at the sight of her parents and aggravated that the kids and Richard invited their grandparents to the house. Gumball tries to lighten the mood and the three start arguing about what happened between them, even though they don't know whose fault it is. I think we can all agree that whatever happened is mainly the parents' fault. It's on the parents to raise their kid to be emotionally and intellectually developed. Nicole is very intelligent, but she struggles to admit when she's wrong. She's hyper-independent and has rage issues. All signs of narcissism that likely stem from her being raised by narcissists. Her parents thought they were doing what's best for her, but life is all about balance. They raised her to be hyper-masculine and neglected her feminine side, and there's a lot of parents who are like this, and I don't think that they're bad people. They most likely just didn't realize what they were doing until it was too late, and have too much pride to admit that maybe their parenting wasn't the best. Most likely, her maternal and paternal grandparents both raised their kids with an iron hand, and it's possibly a generational curse that could go back to her first ancestors. With that being said, Nicole is an adult now, and it's up to her to do the best with the cards she was dealt, and improve herself for the sake of her family's future. Breaking generational curses is an uphill battle and most likely a lifelong process. The two parties go back and forth arguing about who is wrong and trauma dumping on each other. And we really see how stern Nicole's parents are, and we also see that they never approved of Richard because they think she could do better than a slacker with a dead-end job. But the joke is on them because Richard doesn't even have a job. They still try to set Nicole up with hyper-successful men like neurosurgeons and bank dweebs. And this episode really highlights the resentment that the two sides feel. They're both angry with each other and don't exactly remember why, which makes sense because feelings aren't rational. Sometimes you don't even remember exactly what someone did or said, you just remember how it made you feel. And there's a high chance that you aren't even remembering what happened correctly because anger blurs how we perceive things. Nicole says that times were more peaceful when the two parties were engaging in no contact. Nicole and her parents are sad as they both part ways. At the end of the day, Nicole's parents only know how to give her the love that they were once given. The two parties reconcile and begin healing the wounds that they inflicted on each other. Yes, each other. Even though your parents play a major part in shaping you to become an adult, you also play a colossal role in them growing and becoming more mature. Remember, sometimes you gotta take it easy on your parents. They too are oblivious as to what tomorrow will bring.